I mean, the master to those days. Listen, I was producing stuff with an Atari.
That's what I was going to ask next.
Bring it back.
Because you said that to me earlier, yeah. Like, so you used like a little hardware and stuff, but you had the black and white Cubase on Atari.
Right. MIDI Mafia.
Atari ST, was it?
Listen, I had that heavy outboard goods. I had an Atari ST. Yeah. So all of my production that you're hearing is made on the Atari ST. Now, it doesn't generate any sounds. I'm using MIDI, equipment.
Yeah. Even so, man, that's greatness. That's not like what people don't understand how easy they got. This is the Wordlife show on Ujima Radio. Mad, bro. I had to start the interview off on the back of that track, yeah. And,
right,
bro. Like, for anyone who's just caught this on air, who's watching online, press the subscribe button, yeah. But I am here with a legend, yeah. Not just a Bristol legend, all-round legend. He has made beats for some of the best artists in the game, flat out, yeah. As you can hear, that's Skibbity. Man. Deal with the matter, yeah. R.I.P. to the god Skibbity, yeah.
Rest in peace, my brother.
That's the slogan, yeah. The main slogan of all slogans. Deal with the matter. Deal with it proper, yeah. And you've got the track with Skibbity laying it out there, and the beat's fire, bruv. And that's the energy right there. It's kind of like drum and bass hip hop.
It's a between the two, because that's my love as well. So I was in the race for drum and bass, but I appreciated the production, and I just wanted to merge the two. And that's a marriage there, isn't it? With Skibbity, you kind of transformed onto hip hop. So
you brought that synth energy. You know what I mean? As you say, the drum and bass production levels, but it's not about being a sweaty raver too much.
No, not too, but still.
But I was way too gangster for that. Right? Okay, so those who don't know. Basically, like Bad Breed, what was it, 24/7? Before that, like originally,
that's the foundation.
Right, so let's go back to the foundation. So, basically, Adrian Stone Productions, legend in the building. So yeah, big up. If you don't know about him, today's the schooling. You're about to learn. You know what I mean? So right, you were born. You're here now. Let's go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bristol born.
Yes.
Bristol born and bred, and then. Let's start with the journey. I mean, the music journey started really from DJing. So from 12, 13 years old, I was already like mixing. My uncle who founded FTP, and that's For the People Radio, for those who remember that.
The first radio station, black-owned radio, the first radio station, no, the first black-owned legal. It was legitimate, wasn't it?
Because there's Pirates, there was Spec, there was Bad, there was Emergency, there's loads of different radio stations in Bristol.
But this is the one that got licensed.
The license.
So and that was your family, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's my uncle Clement McClanty, legend, Big up, right. And he still was doing this thing. But he gave me the turntables. And from that, my brothers here, big up my brothers, we were doing it together. Right? So, and I just kind of, at that point, I'm mixing with buying records and getting my pocket money and buying a record, bagging a record.
You remember what the first ever one you bought was?
The first, it should have been Big Daddy Kane, right? The first album. The first album, Stetsasonic, but the first actual single was some record called Cool Rock Brothers. It's mad, you would even never heard of it.
I don't think I have.
Right, but these were import. These were the days when you go to Tony's up in Park Street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go to Revival. Replay. All them places.
Discontake, every day.
Plastic Wax. We're going because we're buying old school records. So it's not just hip hop.
Plastic Wax was before me still. Geez,
so really, that's my history coming up from like. No, listen, electro. Forget hip hop, So we were calling it electro first. I was listening from the early days.
Can you do the robot on all them ones?
No, break that. That's my brother. That's my brother, man.
I bet he's got them.
The windmill. I posted something recently. I tried to do it. I ain't still got it. But
I bet you kids still do it.
Yeah. A little something.
So, and you said that you were doing scratching.
Yeah. So the DMC competitions, they really inspired me. So you got Cash Money, you got all them big DJs. I was watching them. And I was just practicing every day in my bedroom, got my Technics 1200s. Eventually my uncle gave me some kind of, I don't know, some Sony direct drive. Belt drives, not even the direct drives.
And they go around.
Right, so it's long when you stop it. So eventually got the 1200s and I was just on it. Going to London, go and get imports. So anybody knows who buy vinyls, like it was expensive, like £5 something.
At least £5 back in them days as well. You think like money's gone up, like inflation is enough, isn't it? That's probably the equivalent of about £11-12 now, realistically.
Yeah, it's expensive, like that's everything. So my mum's a part of it. My mum backed me, like my, just just my passion for music.
Yeah.
And so from that evolved into me doing production. So I went to Sefton Park Youth Club up in St Andrews.
Yeah.
And that's where Ronnie Size also learnt to sample. So Jill Sargent, big up Jill.
Yeah.
She taught me the basic, techniques of sampling, mixing, and this is along with the group 24/7. Right. So we all kind of all learnt together. But because I was DJing and buying records.
So the group 24/7. Let's just touch on that. Who was in the group 24/7?
Right. So these were my friends. These are the guys. Either I was mixing before and DJing. They came in and they started rapping. So Marcel, Ian, the car. We formed that group 24/7.
Go on.
And through the stuff that we do in that Sefton Park Youth Club, the song went on to Dance Energy. Dance Energy was a program on BBC Two with Normski.
That rings a bell.
Right, so this is like 90s. So it was like a dance program, but they would introduce like local acts. London Posse were on there.
Okay.
And we looked up to them, so we were kind of like mirroring them. To kind of look. We're next. We're gonna take the baton from them. We produced a song at the Sefton Park Youth Club. We did loads of songs, but that one there, that's 92, and that's Bristol's. Well, I would say official first rap video, 91, 92.
What was that called?
And that was called Death Blow.
Death Blow, right?
So they got.
You hear it here? Hang on. The first music video from Bristol, hip hop, Death Blow. Hey, legend in the building.
No, I gotta say.
Did I mention he's a legend?
No, hold up. Easy. But there's history and. There's many people that we're all inspired from. And when I was DJing, I was, linking up with other DJs like Lynx, Big Him Up, Big Up Kells. That's the godfather to
Uncle
me.
Kells, yeah?
Yeah, man. That's you have to give him the props. Of course. Yeah. But when it comes to more of the underground, more of the, the reality lyrics, street lyrics, I would say that's where we came in to start really kind of like, giving, giving more that realness to the music.
Because I think a lot of those people you mentioned were like rapping. Like they were doing more rapping about rapping and about certain things, whereas it was just pure grit and grind when you guys come in.
Right.
Well, I know Bad Breed was like Pilo and them kind of that real street stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
And music is about, it's not just about talking from a street perspective. As a producer, I'm into music. Period. Whether it's I grew up with reggae. That's what's played in my house. Lovers rock and so you bring those elements into the production. And when people are rapping, you want them to tell stories. You want them to paint the pictures. It's not just about the grime. It's about the talent. It's about the flow and all those sort of things. So but at the same time, we need to bring it back so we don't forget the timeline here. So what I'm saying is that yes, I'm a DJ evolved into a producer with 24/7. We've gone to London to kind of like take the music to the next level. And we're trying to break into the industry.
So that's what you done. You moved out of Bristol to go to London to try and make it like I'm going to London. I'm getting on it, and you've been there ever since, isn't it? So,
right, because there was no scene. The scene was. You see, the scene is thriving right now, and I love it. And I love seeing, especially with your show, some of the talents come through. So it's funny because before we even left, we went to Massive Attack. Went to Daddy G and said, "Yo, listen to our demo."
And what did they say?
He said, "Yeah, he likes the beat, but the chorus is whack." Right? So, so we was looking at it thinking like, hold on a minute, this guy's up there. You know what I mean? I'm a bit cool now, but I'm just saying at the time we couldn't find a way through to kind of break in. Tricky. So I was linking a lot of guys like Cross, big up Cross and Flynn, and I met Tricky through them, and he tried to get us a deal. In London. Okay. So he's one of the first people to try and break us in. And then through that didn't quite work out, and then we went to the specials. One of the guys from the special called Liv Golden, who's in Coventry. He produced our demo and tried to get it to sign to one of the labels. Didn't quite work out. So then these are the kind of trials and tribulations of you're taking your art, you're taking your passion and tried to break it into the scene. And so that group didn't quite make it, and then evolved into Bad Breed, which was kind of like cousins. So this is where Pilo comes into it.
Right. So 24/7, as I said, the first track you had Deplo and everything like that.
Right.
Shame on anyone said the chorus was whack.
The chorus is banging. You know what we're talking about. It's on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, but. Right, so that, as you say, that was that? Sorry, 92. Did you say?
Yeah. So from 92, we're in Bristol. Then we leave 93, and then onwards from 95. That's when Bad Breed formed.
So 95 was the birth of Bad Breed. Then?
Birth of Bad Breed.
Okay, because now to me, I knew about Bad Breed from the events that was running with Dean and everything like that, and Lakota, and you had certain things like that. That's probably a lot later on, isn't it?
Right, a lot later on. But again, you know, Bad Breed's gone through different phases, and different artists have come through. And Dean McCullough, that's my brother, you know, through another mother, and share brothers. So that's family. So when he came in, that's when Bad Breed Entertainment was. It's still Bad Breed in terms of Pilo and the roots of what we're doing. But then he's, you know, sort of springboarded and did other things with the shows with Myra Winans, Styles P, Papoose. You know,
Papoose one was great,
bringing them over. So you know, many different branches.
So right before it got to the shows, then so Bad Breed's born. Then we've got the track that I played at the start of the show. What's it called? Sorry again. The crime.
Once Upon a Crime.
Once Upon a Crime. Great track.
Right. 95.
95. Right.
Brixton. And you know what? Let me just say, because when I came to Brixton, you know, we've moved over to, you know, to Kennington first, then Brixton, which is next door. And we're looking at artists that we want to mess with. And back in the day when we were 24/7, we went to London Posse and we said to them, look, you know, we're next. You know, we saw Rodney P. Listen, I used to have their posters on my wall. So we were looking at to them like, that's the model.
Really looking at to them.
Right. And also, the important fact to mention is that they were spitting and rapping in the British accent.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? With the Caribbean vibe, you know? So we could relate to that. So the reason that a lot of guys didn't really inspire us because they sounded American. So we didn't really rate that. So it wasn't authentic. It wasn't really, you know, where we're coming from, how we talk, how we walk, the slang and the rest of it. So the important thing about Bad Breed is that it was authentic in its, like, you can feel like that, you know that, brother, you know, the way we're talking and things like that.
It's like someone you'd be chatting to on road. And
exactly.
So depends what road you're on. But,
and it's not stressed out, it's like you're talking. So the style is almost like it's conversational. And at that time, you know, that was, I don't say unheard of. It was done through London Posse, but people didn't really get inspired, you know, that generation to kind of, you know, to replicate what we're doing. But we did. We looked at it and said, that's the blueprint, and then add our own flavour to it.
How were you guys perceived then, coming over from Bristol by the London crowd at the time then?
Listen, when you start talking and you got the Ori and the Oris and all that, girls love you, man. What do you mean? You mean, that's how you break the ice, you know? And that's what I'm saying about keeping it real, you know? You know what I mean? But of course, but...
you know, like, sometimes when you go to a new city, it might have been a bit stoush and they're trying to act a certain way or something like that, but you've worked with the best of the best. So
well, the music breaks... Listen, the music is the icebreaker because there's levels, you know, there's levels. People hear the levels and think, raw, like, how did you produce that? You know, even from Pilo as an artist, they think, how did you spit in your accent? How did you follow it like that? How did you catch the rhythm like that? It's so syncopated. And then with the production, because I've been learning my craft, mastering my craft from when I was young, you know, from the 90s, you know, then by the time I got to London and I'm in the studio and Roots Maneuvers there and other people, I'm playing it and they're like, raw, like, you got those ain't got that Roots vibe, you know?
Hey, I won't be the one that say it. I think you encouraged his production, but whatever.
Listen, well, you know what? Listen, but you know what's funny? In the circles, you know, this is off camera, when we're talking amongst, like, producers talk, you know, I've inspired many producers and they've given me credit, you know, in that space. It's not always about necessarily officially, but, you know, between each other, you know,
they never want to be the one to say I was biting or something like I was inspired, and but that's a producer nod, but
it's important because it shapes the sound. See, this is what gives your own identity. So where many struggle to kind of, like, you know, stand out from the crowd, it's because they haven't really, you know, developed, as you know, the role of a producer is to develop you, is to jam with you, play you different vibes, help you with your delivery, your tone, you know, your cadence. And this is what was happening when I was working with, you know, because I became almost like the Dre. I don't know when the big myself Dre's are levels, listen, but in terms of my role, in terms of my role, that's what it was. They would come for me come to me directly. People would bring me artists, or, you know, to say, look, you know,
because it's not just a beat in it. They want you to produce their songs and actually make the song a whole, and then master it and EQ it up and everything like that as well. You know what I mean?
I mean, the master to those days. Listen, I was producing stuff with an Atari.
That's what I was going to ask next.
Bring it back.
Because when you said that to me earlier, like, so you used like a little hardware and stuff, but you had the black and white Cubase on Atari.
MIDI Mafia.
Atari ST, was it?
Listen, I had that heavy outboard goods. I had an Atari ST. So all of my production that you're hearing is made on the Atari ST. Now, it doesn't generate any sounds. I'm using MIDI, you know, equipment.
So, man, that's great. No, that's not like what people don't understand how easy they got it.
You got to visualize it, because when you see the Atari, you know, you're associated with the games back in the day.
The ones that you got, it sounds like an old school modem loaded up when you're trying to play it. So when that broke, now I have to go try and find an old Atari, because there's times it would, you know, you get up in the morning, switch it on, right, it's clicking but it's not turning on. But that there was, you know, the nucleus, that was, you know, at the center of my production. So the way I used it is to
sync it with other keyboards, sync it with other synthesizers or oscillators, and it helped create my own sound, because most people had MPCs. Or the SB1200 is an American drum machine, MPC drum machine 2000. There's more now, but I never used them. So I had to construct my own beats, sample my own, kick drums and snares and hi hats, and really build a library of of drums, and then
also build that up on that sequencer.
Right. So
that's
that was the magic,
genius.
But I didn't, but to me it was hardships. I was thinking at the time, like, I don't have the resources that the American has, but that made, when you got less, then you utilize it a lot more. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
The sampling time's the same. You only got 12 seconds, but I had a chip that gave me a minute. Do you know what it's like when you're chopping up things, chopping up sounds? And listen,
bro, I started on PlayStation. I feel your pain.
Right.
But no, honestly, even it's a different level of that.
Yeah, so that helps you kind of like, as I said, that helped me build a unique sound. And then, I'm around Ronnie Size and other guys.
Actually, before we get off of the nerds tech stuff, how did you have like floppy disks, hard disks? Like, how do you save them off? Or how did you convert it to music? Was it reels? What was it in those days? Like,
so floppy disks, as you said. So had to save it on the floppy disk.
So how many floppy disks per song was there? You must have had like drawers.
No. One could do it. Sometimes two, but sometimes I would save it on the DAT machine, the digital audio tape, if you know that. If you're in the studio, then it goes onto tape. And then if you're in a bigger studio, you're into the half tapes, a half inch. So there's different formats that you would use. But from home, you're recording straight onto.
What was you in your yard?
So I mean, I had the DAT tapes, I had the mini disc players, I had.
Mini disc was the one.
What's the other one called? A Yamaha AW4416, which is a digital mixer audio interface. So there were different things which later evolved into Pro Tools, which most people use production. So most people use, in my time, they started with the MIDI Mafia, software to to program your beats. Then they might evolve into Cubase, Logic, higher versions of Cubase and Logic. This is producers talk.
Well, I love this stuff. Sorry, we're probably boring some of the audience, but this is being filmed by Venomous Visuals. I assure you, there's going to be a bag of nerds like me that love this stuff. You know what I mean? And this is gold, bro. And there's people now that go out and hunt for this sort of hardware to recreate the sounds that you was making then.
Right, I got some equipment like the Moog Voyagers. It's probably for about $4,000 now.
It's just gone up.
It adds value over time, because those were the authentic analog sounds. So this is where you got the the thickness of the bass and the samples in a certain way. So when you're using digital software programmers like your not so much Fruit Loops or Reasons and all those sort of ones, they don't give you the body, they don't give you the boom bap,
warmth,
so
depth of sound.
Exactly. So the compressors, they help give you that sound. So this is what I should do. We had a studio over time. Because before that time, what I had to do is take my Atari in a taxi and go to the studio and wire up, because they didn't have an Atari.
You know
what I mean? And bring my sampler, my Akai S950. If you know about the 950 or the S1000s, right? This is heavy. This is heavy gear. And carry the cube. Listen, man, if you know my life, right, and what I had to do.
They don't know the story. This is what this. I want to document this side of it. Like they don't get the labor that went into the love.
Right.
They say it's a labor of love. No, like it's different. Carrying records. If you ever had to carry record bags,
no joke,
and Atari whole computers, was that the screen as well? We're talking like an old school TV, the wide backs, no flat screen monitors,
none of that. No, just like and it has to be love. And we're talking about a time where, for the music I was making, and this is like, let's say hardcore hip hop at the time, there was no industry for it. You see, radio's not really playing that type of music.
Right.
So imagine, I'm going against the grain in terms of the type of style of production I'm making. And they don't get it. Right. So that's why you have to have the artists with you to be able to shape them and convince them at times this is the right track to record on, or try this style, work with this, and eventually that became my calling card. That became something that people wanted. When it wasn't commonplace for producers to use those sounds or use those tempos and things like that. So that's how the real Sticker sound was birthed. Was through hardship and struggle and the grind.
This is why I wanted to know this stuff. I'm a producer as well, and I get it. now, honestly, like to a lot of people who like the kids don't know how lucky they are nowadays. You know what I mean? They've got everything there, but like if you wanted it back in the day, you had to really put in work. You know what I mean? That's why I think you got to be praised, because you really put in that work back then. But yeah, let's go on to the more exciting stuff now. Then so Bad Breed, once they
so Pilo, let me big them up, man, because we know who's who. So we're talking about, we said 24/7, it evolved into Bad Breed. We're talking about Pilo, we're talking about Bino Pacino, we're talking about Bugsy, we're talking about Schema, and Schema was also Master, who's part of the original 24/7. So it was just us two, and then the cousins all came into the group. So his younger cousin, listen, and this is what I'm saying, never mind it, because people might catch the vibe of street, but these men are talented, you know? You know what I mean? It's not just bars, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, right? So, you know, so we created something that I believe it was ahead of time at the time, and we appeared in Vibe magazine. Now Vibe magazine is an American magazine, and that was a big thing to be featured in there. I think Roots Money was the only person, the only English artist that was featured in that magazine, and this is 1997. So we had loads of labels chasing us, saying, look, you know, Uzi's British guys, you know, big up 279, DJ 279. He was really backing us and playing our music as well on the radio in London, Choice FM. For those who know Choice FM. So that opened up doors, but unfortunately, you know, the group disbanded, and then it was just me and Pilo.
Right. Okay. I never knew that happened. So hang on, the events then, the Bad Breed Entertainment ones, was that before the group disbanded or after?
that was after. So Bad Breed Entertainment with Dean, and he came in as a partner, was much later, around about 98, 99. So in that time, me and Pilo is now developing our sound, and this is where we get the original sound. And listen, because Pilo came, so Pilo, you know, he was around when the original Bad Breed and 24/7 group was around, but he was young. He was 15, coming from school, but he was still producing. Now he was a dancehall DJ. So he's working with, he's worked with Tenor Fly, you know, and some other Baby Waynes. These are reggae artists, you know, 80s and 90s, you know, that dominated the London scene. So they're well respected. But he was a bad dude. You just had the talent, you know, just, you know, and he was, you know, he came.
But you say he was DJing then?
So when we say just over the record, so when we say DJ, we mean dancehall DJ, selector, artist. No, so he was, you know, so he's spitting, you know, he's doing his dancehall vibe. So that was why he got so much melody from that genre and brought it to hip hop, and that just kind of brought something that was black and white to color when he formed Bad Breed, right? Fully. And at the same time, it's British, and he's got the Caribbean, you know, and in an organic way as well, you know, because sometimes people talk patois, it don't sound right. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people forcing it.
Don't sound right. So and we're quick with me, you know, I'm very critical in terms of, you know, the production. What you're doing, what you're contributing lyrically, so the standard would always be set high, and I'll always work with you to make sure. But Pilo just understood, so he was natural. Listen, like, we just synced automatically. So the way you see Gangstar, Guru, and Premier, that's my guy. You know, that's my partner. You know,
he's your Gangstar. Then,
absolutely. You know, so from Pilo, we played. What did we play? We played Trust Me. But what we didn't play is Don't Like P.
That's coming. That's still coming.
That was one of our anthems. So let me just tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you about, you know, just how that evolved, because we went for years of grinding as well. It didn't just like we did this and did this. You know, we had to grind, and these are the days where, as I said, there wasn't no hip hop on the radio, no hip hop like underground hip on the mainstream. It was in the graveyard shift, Westwood, and they did play our songs back in the day. But with Dean, we got Pilo to support Eve and the Locks.
Are you hearing these names, people?
Listen, this is early 2000. Let me tell you, right? So we're the main supporting act. So when we're doing rehearsals, sound check, I see Pilo. Look, I'm there obviously with the DAT tapes, just making sure everything sounds right, the levels are right. Got the hype man there supporting Pilo, and all I see is Rampage, the Last Boy Scout, come from behind the stage and going crazy, like just loving it. I'm thinking this is sound check, you know. So no one's in the venue, right? So I'm thinking everything's cool, and then I get, you know, after a few minutes I get to talk to Rampage, but the vibe is kind of off, and I'm like, what's going on? So Rampage is like, you know, he's upset. So I'm upset, but I don't know what's going on. But basically, just to cut a long story short, he wanted to do a collaboration with Pilo. All right. And because we are just, you know, maybe speak for him and what he was like, he wanted to keep it British.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't really interested in the collaborations.
Yeah.
So we want to speak about our ends and where we're from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he just looked at it like, you know,
it's not going to work. Like,
nah. So, but I looked at it. You know what? That was a bridge that we could have crossed to help.
Yeah.
You know,
get yourself out there more. But
exactly. Get across in the States.
You know, I think sometimes art's more important than where the art takes you. Sometimes, though.
Right.
I think, you know, it's about being real to art sometimes. And I think maybe that, as much as that could have shot him in the foot, at least he was true to himself.
He was just keeping it real, but too real, right?
Yes. When keeping it real goes wrong.
Listen, too real. I needed the rampage check. Yeah. Listen, man was in the grind.
As a producer, I bet you hate it.
Yeah, of course.
Why'd you do that? What?
Oh, no, what's got? They saw the bag just went down the drain. Like, you know what I mean? Because what happened?
You could hear it flushing.
Yeah, I was like, yo. You know what I mean? I tried to fix it. I tried to fix it. So what
we could do that for sure. What about this song?
So this is what happened. They were driving to the studio from they were driving to the studio to Westwood studio, right, for Westwood show. This is Rampage, Last Boy Scout. This is Busta Rhymes' cousin, for those who don't know, and Raw Digger, right? They're all part of Flip Mode Squad. And they heard they don't like P on the radio. So they've heard that song play on the radio, and then they're thinking, that song, the beat and the melody, the drop, whoa, that's our kind of rhythms. So a lot of my production kind of suited Busta Rhymes. So when they got to the venue, then they saw the guy performing. So they couldn't believe it. So what
tied up like
it's like, what the hell, like, so when they went to Westwood, they said to Westwood, play They Don't Like P. So I got them singing it.
Okay.
So they were singing it on the radio, saying, you know, they don't like P. Put the rhythm on so they can spit on it. And Westwood was like, yeah, we'll get it on soon. But I sent the song to Westwood because I know Westwood as well. I sent the song to him a few weeks back, but he didn't have access to it at the time. Obviously, you know how he wasn't really supporting the UK acts. So anyway,
for maybe for the last 5 minutes of a show or something.
Right. So when he got to the show and he seen Pilo and it went funny, I tried to fix it, and I did fix it. We kind of fixed it in the end, but we didn't go forward to collaborate. So that was an opportunity missed. But that's life, and that's the trials and tribulations sometimes when you know, because I kind of played the manager role as well to support Pilo as well as doing the production. So
so with that, then you've made loads of tracks with Pilo and stuff like that, but I think we got to touch on some of the other things, like,
of course,
like Skibbity.
Right.
God Skibbity, R.I.P.
Listen,
now you done, was it his album or was it?
I mean, with Skibbity, I saw 2 times freestyle and I said, that guy's a god. That guy's, you know, him and MC there. So Lee Khan, big up Lee Khan. So that's one of my other partners
big up him,
behind the scenes. You know, none of us really like doing media stuff. We just get to the work. But he helped connect the dots. So Skibbity was like, yeah, of course. He heard the rhythms. I don't think he even heard too much. He came to my house, and the Deal with the Matter that you played earlier, that's the second version. But the original version, which was recorded in my house, is just incredible. So we just created a body of work. We created over probably 20 songs, and that got signed to Relentless. You know, so with Dirty Dogs, who's now Dirty Goods, it was a joint deal, but in the end, Skibbity just signed a deal by himself. And that was one of the singles. We did stuff with Virgin. We did A to Z, the song called A to Z, similar to the Papoose. Do you know the Papoose A to Z song?
The offer when he goes through the letters and stuff.
Right.
Like
that. So Skibbity did one before that, same kind of style. So he was just, again, you know him as a drum and bass MC, but he made that transition to hip hop. And
I knew him as drum and bass, but as I said, the two times freestyles him a debt. I just know that went onto loads of hip hop mix things as well, and that flew around the hip hop scene as well. So they got blew up on both, didn't it? Really?
So me and Shy FX were the main producers, even though this is for his album, so I basically created the album for him to get signed, and then Shy FX came to the table to help produce a few tracks. I ended up doing most, but then it didn't get released. But we had releases on mixtapes. In those days, mixtapes were big.
Mixtapes were everything,
right? It got to the point where obviously you see Mike Josie, he's out there on if you've been to London, Oxford Street, or all places, he's been out
even
there.
In Bristol. That's why I met him with Mr. Drastic and all them around in Bristol. Yeah, sure.
And as I said, these guys, he was like one of my artists back in the day, Mike. So we created that body of work for them to kind of like know. You have
a lot of music with Mike Josie, innit?
Yeah, man. So and he's a G, and he's you got to rate. There's levels. Is what I'm saying to you. There's levels, and I don't know. I worked with some of the pioneers, and it was like I said, it wasn't it wasn't straightforward, you know, because you got the industry side, then you got the creative side of getting things done, and trying to get it signed, as opposed to, you know, it's just sitting in the archive and it's on a mixtape. So there was a struggle with that.
What do you think was your biggest track that got signed or got put out or anything like that? What's your most notable?
It's got to be Skinny Man. You know, it's got to be Skinny Man.
Okay, like, that's the obvious one.
Right. I mean, my personal. We'll get to the Skinny Man in a second. My personal favorite has to be Rodney P. Yeah, and that's because. That's where you was gonna be. Listen, if you're in your yard and you're into whatever you're into, and these are the pioneers and these are the people that you model yourself off, and then you produce the title track to the album.
Yeah, that's different.
It don't get no greater.
Bro, that's different. You know?
Yeah, it's different. It hits different.
That's different.
You know what I mean? And that's my good friend. So now, you know, and he had the video of, you know, 24/7. In his house, because we gave it to them when they performed. Okay, we said, "Yo, we're next." We gave him, we gave him the video at the time. And then years later, in West End, Dark and Cold, there's a clothing shop called Dark and Cold. You know about them? I met him outside, and I said to him, "Yo, back in the day, we linked you." I met him and Bownett, who's part of London Posse, at the same moment. And he said, "Yeah, I got them in my yard." So then we started working later on, and I got the title track to the album. So that's my. You know, my personal favorite, you know, just the journey itself, you know, and then, you know, I guess Skinny Man, It's Over. You know,
right. For anyone who doesn't know, let me explain. So for me, I used to sit in my friend's attic, my friend Pete's attic. Right. He used to smoke weed out his window when his mum was like there. And we used to listen to Skinny Man's album on repeat. Now, from when I was a youth, I was listening to your song without even knowing that it was your song. Right. And this is amazing. So basically, it's been rated as the #1 hip hop album, UK hip hop album of all time.
Wow.
And you've got a track on there.
Council State of Mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I should have said that part.
Council State of Mind is a classic album.
I've seen multiple polls, multiple magazines, and they've rated it as the #1 of all time.
That's crazy.
For you to have a track on that, and a great track on there as well. You know, what an accolade. You know.
Yeah, man. There's so much memories recording that, and you know. Big up Paul Martin, who was the A&R for the project, because he was signed to Universal first. Skinny went prison, came back out, and then they released it again. And also Ronnie Size as well, because Ronnie Size was signed to Talking Loud, Giles Peterson, and Paul Martin was the A&R. Eventually that evolved, you know, the majors come in, Universal / Def Jam. So I was working with them under them being signed as artists, you know. And that... To me, that's when the growth of my production was at its highest level, because this is where I was in my blood.
It had to be, though, didn't it?
Yeah, you know, I was ready.
All of these
listen, all them years, you know,
die at that point,
you know, and Skinny himself, you know, he is regarded as one of the top MCs as well. So it was, you know, and he knew, you know, some of my work, knew some of Pilo's, because it was on the radio heavy. They asked me to get if I want the drummer from Rage Against the Machine, you know, to kind of like replay It's Over. I said, no, I don't understand why I said no.
You can't be mad at Pilo for what he done now when you've done that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? Stop it.
No. You see what I'm saying? But no. Right, also, because time is slipping away, and I've still got some of your music I want to play. Obviously, the interview is the most important part of why you're here today and stuff. But like, I also want to show off songs like the Elephant Man song. Right. How did that come about then?
Right. So, again, this deal with Skinny Man, well, he signed to the label. Dynamite was signed to the label before him. This is Universal. I'm working with Paul Martin. I'm working on Dynamite's album, and that's one. It eventually came out as an EP. No, it came out as an album, but it was the song I did was featured in the EP. Right. But when we were doing the songs, we did Pressure, we did Bubble, we did another song called Powerful, and then Elephant Man was in the country performing. Now, he was with another guy called DJ Village, and sadly that he got killed. There was a robbery, where they took Elephant Man's jewelry or whatever, and they, you know, sadly killed DJ Village.
Oh, what, when he was on tour over here?
He's in the UK.
Where's Village from?
It's from the UK.
Village was from the UK. But he linked Elephant Man, and then they went to move him up, and then he got killed in the process.
Well, yeah, so whatever happened, the following day is when I recorded the song with the Elephant Man. Oh. So we still came to the studio with me and Dynamite. So it was actually a collaboration between me and Dynamite. Yeah. And, you know, Log On, for those who know Log On, that was a massive song at the time. Big tune. Yeah. So,
I got vinyl,
right. So the whole song is a response to what happened. Right.
I'm going to have to listen to that again now with different ears now, isn't it?
Yeah, if you listen to the lyrics are crazy.
I guess when you know, right?
The lyrics. It's a kind of response is like, you know, the energy of it, you know, the hurt of it as well, you know. You can see, you know, we lost a friend, you know, and it was fire. What can I tell you, man? The energy from that song. Listen, let me just say, the way Jamaicans record music, right, is different. They're not, you know, they talk about Jay-Z not writing anything down. They didn't write nothing down.
Nothing, huh?
So it was Elephant Man and Kip Rich. If you know Kip Rich, he's another Jamaican artist, and Ninja Kid. They were in the booth, one line each. They're playing the rhythm. Yeah, run it back. Because Dynamite did his part. and he just worked it. Listen, it's like seeing magic. And I've worked with loads of different people at this point.
But that must have just blew your mind seeing it.
Totally. So
what do you mean you're not gonna write it down? but can you please just write it down?
But didn't need to write it down because it's pure vibes, you know, you know, that's what they call it, the energy god, you know. They've been in the studio since they were 2. So they know what they're doing. Fair, right? Yeah. So we did 2 songs. We did another song which is unreleased, you know, called Weed and Gala Need, and it's just their flow, the way they let me say, I got to say, Rider Rhythm, this is very different, but anyway, that's how the song was birthed.
So I was literally trying to play a song in the background, so
right.
No, we're good over, but I don't mind because I got a legend in the building, so it's all good too. Right, so you got that. Right, another thing, there was the Aretha
Rhythm.
Now that's got a lot of people on there, but actually certain other people, but it's got 50 Cent on the start.
Right. No, see, back in the day, as a producer, you're trying to break in. I got my acts. I'm trying to push them to labels, didn't quite work out. Then I'm doing Stone, so I was one of the first producers to kind of feature artists. As you know how you see Mark Ronson, how you see Kanye West. I was doing that type of, you know, branding, as in I'm releasing these acts as part
How
of
many years ago was that? Then we talked.
I was doing that from the 1990s, so late 1990s. I'm talking. You know, one of the tracks like called Thoroughbreds was about different artists from different parts of London, north, east, south, and west, come together because people weren't collaborating at that time. So in my mind, I was always thinking, to bring London together, bring Bristol together, and get them to collaborate. Because a lot of people were meeting in the studios for the first time. So when I was doing the Aretha Rhythm and things like that, I was working with what's the label called? It escapes me, but Mike Skinner. 679 Records. I was they signed The Streets, Mike Skinner. And they played me Kano.
Okay.
Right, they played me P's and Q's. Just to show me like this is what they're working with, because they heard about me because Mike Skinner was a fan of my music. And he was listening.
I'm not gonna lie, Kano sounds a bit like Pilo, but whatever.
Exactly. So when they played it to me, I was almost like, but hold on a minute, and I love Kano.
Am I bad for saying that?
No.
Am I bad for saying that? Listen to Kano's tone and his voice. Listen to Pilo. Tell me.
Right. But people, listen, know the tree, know your own history. Let me just say that. Right. So it was almost like a watered down version of Pilo. Right? So Dan Stacey, big him up. He played me the stuff, but he was
family friendly Pilo,
Right. So 679 Records just wanted to work with me, and this is where Crush, they.
I was going to ask when the first lady comes into it, she's on that track on the Aretha.
But we're working for years, and Crush is my little sis, and a part of the Badbury family, first lady. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, come in, Crush, man. Right? We were working, doing our own, tracks. Obviously, Skibbity's on one of them. But at that stage, she's part of the Badbury family, so we're doing songs. We're getting them released on different compilations, mixtapes. Front of different magazines releasing some of the songs we did, like Ravers, like you heard earlier. And she's just sick, man. Come on, talent, right? There's no other female spitting
records in my studio. She's brilliant, brilliant. I believe we're booked in for tomorrow, right?
I can roll with them and the same way, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Right? Hold your own every time.
She worked with Sincere, she worked with Mike Gilsey. This is what I was doing, bringing them all together in the studio. Worked with Skibbity,
that track you got with Skib was a beast,
Right.
Can't believe I didn't know about that till today, but whatever.
Right. And then we got them. I got working on. Mike Skinner's, the Mitchell Brothers. Right? So, the Mitchell Brothers.
Routine check.
Listen, but there was a time where there were other artists like Nole and, and...
who's now the star of Top Boy, pretty much.
Right, pick her up, But when Crush come in the studio, listen, because there was a time, there was a session with, Stush, what's that? Right? And Fury and Crush came in the building and crushed the building. So at that time,
killed them all off.
Because at that time they never seen, they didn't know you because it wasn't from London. So a lot of time Londoners think, it's all about London.
Yeah.
They don't know what's happening in Bristol.
Yeah.
Right. They don't know what's happening in Notts.
Outside of it.
Outside of that. So you know, I still. That's right. You know, that's how we catch them.
No,
you know
I love that. So you say what Stush is in from social circles with Doneo and all that stuff. Stush.
Yeah. No, not Stush. Not Stush. Shiesty.
Shiesty. Yeah. She was wicked.
I was meant to work with Stush because all part. This is the thing. There's
I know you got the one with Doneo as well, isn't it?
Right.
And he's social circles.
Right. That's where he started, and that's really through Skibbity. But there was lots of different networks. Roots Maneuver. I was meant to be on his first album, which didn't actually happen. But then we later worked on the Aretha Rhythm, which we were talking about. It's a long way of talking about it. Yeah. And another track which is unreleased with Onali from Represent. So there's loads of collaboration because that's what you got to do. It's not, but the bone of it, you know, is hip hop. So even though it may go to other genres.
Now I'm aware we've kind of doubled at the time what we was going to do on the interview. I was kind of prepared for it anyway. Now, was there before? So I want to touch on the own history before we're done.
Right, of course.
But was there anything notable that you think I'm missing out? Do you think our listeners should know for history, for timeline, for anything like that? You know what I mean? So.
No, I mean YouTube is there. You know, the archive. What I had to do is, you know, get a lot of my archive of my music online for people to actually enjoy because there's so much unreleased gems. So go to Stone Rhythms.
We'll have that popping up on the screen. You see how we do? We'll have visuals to G. You'll have it all popping up on the screen. I believe he's already actually found your website and he's got everything there already on the program lined up, ready to drop it into. So
because it's there to enjoy. It's one thing talking about music, but you got to, you know, we're talking about years of production as well, with different eyes. So you know, we've touched the milestones, you know, of people that I've worked with, you know, and you know. It's a blessing to kind of hear that the music still stands up today,
bro.
And you know,
I'd say some of it's even better, but whatever. That's just, you know,
you know, because when you're doing
opinions are like whatever they say.
I hear that.
I love it.
You know, because when you're doing music, it's like you're a mad scientist in the lab, you know, in the studio,
and especially back in them days, as you say, when you're doing something unconventional as well. You know what I mean? Like you really had to be feeling the vibe and knowing that it's going to go somewhere and doing something with it. So props to you, man. More power, because to know it still stands ahead of its time now today, and certain beats that you listen to, you think, that's a banger now.
Respect. You have to believe in what you're doing. You know, it's not easy. Music is the most critiqued. It's hurry. You know, but you know that was that was the tool. You know, that was the gift that I didn't realize. You know, that was going to help. You know,
well, it's like sort of things like oxtail,
Aye.
The worst part of the cow in thinking, the tastiest part. You know what I mean? If you learn how to do it properly and craft it, it's my favourite dish.
Aye, it's one of mine as well.
Exactly that.
But your man's cooking. I've been cooking for a lot in the season. It's over marinade. So that's why I'm grateful for you to invite me on the platform and say, look,
bro,
and share that history, share our own history.
I think there's only one place that we had to do it properly. You know what I mean? And I'm glad we've gone over it, if I'm honest, because we couldn't have said all that in a 15-minute interview. There's no way we could have done it. You know what I mean? But own history. Now, I know basically it's about the Windrush generation, and tracing your roots back to the Windrush and stuff like that.
Right.
Can you make it out better than I just did? Because that was terrible.
Right. Obviously, it's genealogy, but it's focused on Caribbean ancestry, and I'm from Jamaican parents.
Yes.
But like most, do you know your grandparents? You know, how far can you go? Can you go back in your tree?
Yeah, I know, like half of.
Right.
Yeah, and even then, not really. You know
right.
I mean?
So my journey was sparked because my mum was unwell at the time, and it made me just think, look, I don't, you know, if she was to pass, so would the history as well, and I didn't really have an opportunity. Or not just have an opportunity, because we're not thinking about those things and the importance of like who we are, where we come from. But it hits you when you go through trauma, and it just made me find like doing a family tree was then looking at my identity, who I am, where I come from. I know my grandparents' names and my great grandparents, and obviously I know Jamaica and I know which part, but I didn't know much more than that. So I went on the journey of exploration to look at the lineage. I eventually started finding historical records that would detail births, marriages, deaths. So I started to build a family tree.
Amazing.
Right. So when my mum was unwell, this is what I was doing, almost like as a coping mechanism to kind of, you know, to get through the whole thing. And also just to look at her strength becoming mine, because at this time our family have to come together to deal with things. And understanding it a bit more,
as you said, like trauma and things like that makes you consider these things a bit more. You know, I think we get on with our own lives and forget everything else exists sometimes, but it takes that for you to actually go, oh, family is really important. And, you know,
absolutely. You know, there's a music family. It's in the same way with how we come together collectively, and even certain members are, you know, they're related. And what you're doing a lot of the times is building a foundation, right, for others, you know, to pass it on to others. So there's parallels in genealogy work you know, and even the discipline of producing and the discipline to research. Two different journeys. One, going to London, you know, to break into the media industry. And the other journey is to now take, you know, what I've learned over the years of researching, delivering masterclasses, delivering workshops, doing talks, helping people, you know, through what I've learned through my journey, you know, demystify the whole process, simplify it as well, and get them the same sort of a eureka moment of finding their ancestors.
And you could do this for other people, or help.
I've been doing that.
That's fantastic, man.
Traced over 20,000 people on my tree, you know, and also, you know,
just a couple there.
There's a couple. It's what we're finding. You know, you're looking at, you know, your roots, your history. And these are things that, you know, many of the elders don't know themselves. You know, because culturally, a lot of people didn't do birth dates, didn't celebrate those sort of things.
And they might not have had that information available to them.
Exactly. But the information is available on our doorstep. It's just that we don't know. And that's what my work was about. So, you know, for many, you know, of Caribbean, you know, descent, you know, we're talking about the slave trade has really kind of robbed us of our identity, and it's had a massive impact on how we see ourselves, even being African. So part of my journey has, you know, has uncovered exactly where I'm from in Africa.
Believe me, your heritage doesn't start at the slave trade. It goes, it's
exactly.
There's so much more, and that's. It's got to be acknowledged and remembered, but it's such a horrible small part that it shouldn't be concentrated on. You know what I mean? It's you want to know where you come from and the greatness behind that. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Absolutely. You know, and also, you know, the work, as you said, as it deals with a lot of trauma that's happened, and the history goes way deeper. But I had to approach the work in a way of celebration. You know, as a family reunion, to bring us, you know, to make us proud of who we are. And to show, you know, share that journey and show the findings. And the most beautiful find is, you know, finding my brother, right? So just imagine.
Well, as the other brother you didn't know you had.
I knew a little bit.
Right.
I knew about him, but I didn't know his name.
That's wild.
Right. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know anything about him other than he's about a year or so younger.
That's mad.
And then 2 years ago I found him, and he's just in Birmingham. So, you know, this is what it does. You know, it's just so many.
You're in touch with people,
right? And then in terms of the research, going back to Jamaica, then finding, you know, my great grandparents enslaved, finding that they're African, but then finding a living person, born in Africa,
their legacy that they've left us connected to you and stuff like that.
Right. So there's that, but this is not just people who are deceased. This is somebody who I found who shares DNA with me. This is also doing it through the, you know, ancestry science. But this person, you know, is a person born in Africa.
That's mad.
And I connect with her and their mother, both from Ghana, both from Kumasi.
From Ghana, okay.
And both from the Shanti tribe. So there's powerful things that you can cover tracing your ancestry, which makes you connect back to the motherland differently. You know you're African, of course, especially, you know, if you're African Caribbean descent, or even, you know, regardless, you know, if you don't know your history, you don't know where it lands. So even if you're white, you know, from other places, you don't know where the link goes. You know, so we're
I got no idea.
Right. So, but many people, you know, they're fearful of these, you know, uncovering these findings. But for me, this journey is about bringing people together, about building bridges, and it's brought me together with people from all four corners.
They say to know where you're going, you got to know where you're from.
Right.
And I think that's so important, you know. Right. And honestly, I think if you can help people find identity, that's such a big thing, bro. Now, I hate to do this, but we've got the Elephant Man song and the Skinny Man song.
We've got to roll that out.
I've got to close. Now, own history, we've got the website details. They will be popping up on the screen now. Go check out the website,
Well, please do.
Also, go check out the back catalogue. Now, before we go into this last tiny part of the show where I've got to play these bangers, was there any shout-outs or anything or any love that you want to give?
Yeah, of course, man. They got their own history, family, man. They're there. So big up Crush, big up my brother Mark, bring up my mum first and foremost. Obviously, nothing's possible without her.
Mum's here,
of course. Well, that's my father as well. He passed when I was young. And just you know, just all people just doing music. You know, you got a dream. You know, I've been there as a young person. Just like, you know, you're going against the dreams. You're going against the grain. You know, people don't necessarily want you to pursue what you're believing, because music, creative people are just wired very differently. So go hard, right? Go hard and don't stop. That's hip hop, won't stop.
That's a promise. Right. So well, start here quickly. I'm just going to mute off the thing. I've lined up Elephant Man, and I'm going to drop straight into the Elephant Man song from next up.
Right.
So, bro, it's been an honour and a pleasure.
Listen,
thank
my
you,
brother. Respect.
Honestly, I'm so glad we got this documented. I think it's important. I think people need to know the history, as you say, of the music that they're doing. Just as you say, own history. If you're a rapper, if you're a musician in Bristol and an artist, know the history, know where you come from, know the people that done it first, know the fundamentals, everything that started it. And this guy here, I'm proud to say I've got him in there. He's a legend in the building. So
respect my brother, man.
Bro. Yeah. And love to you guys. Right. So now I'm gonna go into.
We got what you want, and we the only ones rocking like this. So come rush me now. All aboard the Tripolar Express. We off the rails, and the only thing we make is a mess.
Alright, hold up. Take your blindfolds off. The free of we is tripolar. Consider it a gift, feeling shifting like paradigm. Polar to the power of 9. As time's free. Last of a dying breed. Cross the track, step on the power line. Found bully, cross the map. That's my time. Me too, me free. Tripolar. Even when a guy